call of the roll.
Mrs. Hackenberg?
Here.
Mrs. Heikes?
Here.
Ms. Lewis? Here. Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Russell?
Here.
Mr. Wagner?
Here.
Mr. Cooney? Mrs. Metzger?
Here.
Mr. Rowe?
Here.
Mr. Ruth?
Here.
Mr. Fetterman?
Looking for a motion for the approval of the minutes of the Tuesday, April 21st regular council meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Lance, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Matt. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That was the.
That was the minutes.
I'm sorry. That's okay.
That's okay.
I was saying I to a whole different.
You're Mifflinburg.
That's all right. That's all right. Looking for a motion for the payment of bills. Bill is 2026-05 in the amount of $657,983.57.
Make the motion.
Motion by Linda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Colby. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Heikes?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mrs. Hackenberg?
Yes. Visitors and public comment. Anybody would like to speak on anything?
Hello, I'm Josh Warnick. I was here 2 months ago. Two things. First off, in regards to the pool pricing, I'm really excited about that. That's a thing I just heard relatively recently, and it's definitely having a toddler that gets distracted, having a $3 price to get in and maybe spend 30 minutes there. Really awesome. So that's really cool. The other thing I wanted to ask about, a few months ago when I was here with the other small business owners, there was a motion initially talked about in regards to just like lowering the rate a tiny amount, like nothing huge, but I saw about last month that did come across the desk and didn't get a second, and it seemed at the time of the initial meeting it was a thing people were really excited about. So just as like a member of the community just was looking for some insight into why it didn't even get a second.
That was to change the ordinance.
Correct, to lower the rates.
Right.
Yes, they have some change.
Do you want to explain that to him?
Why, they can't explain why it happened.
No, the
But-
ordinance.
Like
Yeah.
I understand like the thing itself just look more curious just from like on the council point of view. I know that it like Lance initially was in support of it, but then it didn't get a second to bring it to discussion, and just because it never got brought to discussion, I don't understand why it didn't pass. So just more looking for some clarification so I can like bring it back to my people and say, hey, this is what the council's thoughts were on it, because right now I have no idea what you guys think about that thing that seemed like a good idea.
I think the first vote was to change the ordinance, but then it needed voted on at the last meeting. I can't speak for why there
So
was no second.
there was an initial vote to advertise the ordinance, and then as you said, yes, the ordinance itself was on the table for last meeting and it died for lack of a second, but I can't speak to why council made that decision.
Yeah. Does anybody have thoughts as to why it didn't get seconded?
Me personally, I'm not talking into this, me personally, I'm looking at the budget and I want to make sure that we have enough funding in there for our other projects for this year. So I'm not comfortable with a very tight budget, so that 1/2 cent increase that we initially voted on at last year, I wanted to keep with that. And also, once the next month came along, that didn't have those really low temperatures, so the cost of our utilities bill was more normalized. It seemed to be more of a normal bill to me, and that seemed acceptable to me for the cost that I'm making sure that we had enough in our budget that I felt comfortable with that we could run the borough. So that's from my perspective.
Okay.
Madam President, may I address Mr. Warning?
Absolutely.
So initially I made assisted in making the motion to advertise the ordinance, which allows the community members to then come so we as council can hear the community's input before we make a decision. No community members came to that meeting, so there was nobody here to offer an opinion, so.
A lot of us came to the meeting before and we seemed pretty on board with it. Like,
Well, I'm just saying from my point of view, the reason why I made the motion to advertise the ordinance is to give the community the ability to come speak on behalf at the appropriate meeting where that decision is gonna be made. Seeing that nobody showed up, I went with the budget and the facts that we had with the budget.
okay, I mean, that I think is a fair excuse, but at the same time, I think it is ignoring the business community that came here to the meeting before. And like, for the business people to come to every meeting, that's just not feasible because we're super busy. Like, I had to get childcare that night to be out here for that meeting. So I can't just do that every chance I get to come to these meetings, so. Like, I get that, but I also think the people that were most impacted by the electricity were here and did voice some frustrations and disheartened sort of feelings around the electricity. And like, I know this thing wasn't gonna be like a game changer, but it was like, I think to a lot of the community members and business owners that we talked to following that meeting, it really felt like a great olive branch, and like, oh, like, it feels like the council was really like on our side around it, and then to like have a month later for us to like say, hey, like, we don't need to like mobilize around this, we can trust them, and to have like it not even like go to discussion feels weird, disheartening. And like, I know like, I've heard like some recordings I know around that meeting there was talks about how like there were some concerns or comments about like the knee-jerk reaction of the electricity bill by the business community because they didn't go along with, or like none of them signed up for the payment plan. I don't think that's because of the knee-jerk reaction thing. Most of the people didn't go along with that because by the time the payment plan was offered, we had figured things out. Like, I'm a teacher, my paycheck went to paying our electricity bill. Other people paid on their credit. A lot of things were really less than ideal. So, I don't know, just like one of those, like, I get the people not showing up thing maybe was a sign, but it's just one of those, like, from the business community, we can't come every meeting just to like make our voices heard. Like, the hope is that we can come to a few meetings and hope that the voice carries, not that it gets sort of drowned out between. So if nobody else has any comments on it, I think I'll sit down. I've heard a few things that I can talk about with others. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Sharon Leon. I'm the Executive Director of the Union County Housing Authority. This is my first Borough Council meeting. So I just wanted to come just to make a few comments. I obviously, you know, we have multiple housing vouchers in your borough, and we provide housing assistance payments and utility payments to the borough. And we are excited to see more businesses coming into the borough because it gives us more options for the people that we work with to live here and rent here and have employment opportunities. So that's very exciting for us. And also, I think the transportation options here are growing, so that's helpful for us too. So I just wanted to say that we are always looking for affordable housing options, and of course Mifflinburg is part of that. There may be an opportunity, but I do know that there are struggles with EDUs in the borough, so I just want to stay on top of that and be aware of what's going on with that, and so I hope to get some education by attending your meetings more often. So it's nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yes, this is a first meeting for me, so I'm very, very new to this. Just curious, sorry, I don't know the names yet. Are you in the blue shirt? Just so I know going forward, if you have a vote for something, that vote doesn't carry in when it comes to, like, you announce something to vote on, they agree to it, and then when it gets to the actual vote, that vote gets wiped and you have to come in and do it again, right? For it to count, is that how that works?
I'm the solicitor. My name's Noah Rue. Nice to meet you. What's your name, sir?
Jonathan Rich, sorry.
Nice to meet you, Jonathan. When we put together an ordinance, we first are required by law to advertise it within a certain time period. And so what I look for from Borough Council is authorization to make that advertisement based upon the ordinance that I proposed to them. So what took place that night is that there was an authorization for an ordinance to be advertised, which is a very simple change, a half-cent change on the we already previously had done an increase, so it's very easy to do that. So they didn't need to see a draft ordinance prior to authorizing the advertisement. And so then we adhered to the advertising provisions, and then the Borough Code requires that there's a hearing for any ordinance to be passed. And so we advertised the hearing date and time. It so happened that the hearing was set for 6 o'clock last month at our regularly scheduled meeting, and that's when individuals from the public are allowed to come and speak to the ordinance itself. And then subsequent to that hearing, the borough has a first, second discussion, and then can vote on the actual ordinance as drafted and advertised. So there's a very specific process that's laid out in the code, and that's what we were following, and that's the process that you saw unfold.
So the vote to initialize isn't necessarily a vote for it?
It was a vote to advertise, yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
And then just one more question for Linda. You had said about there's a percentage of the budget that you were concerned about for the difference in the bill that was presented. What specifically was those services that you felt would have been suffering from that percentage?
Whenever we do projects, we always have cost estimates going in, and quite often when we get bids for the awards, they will be more than what our estimates are. So you need to have some fluff in your budget to accommodate for that difference. And you never really know what they're going to be until you see those awards or those bids come in later. So for me, I don't like having a very tight budget where you don't have a lot of wiggle room. So I like to have some kind of wiggle room in there to make sure that you have enough to award the projects that you plan for that year. If you don't do that, you will put yourself behind, further and further behind.
So you're talking a budget for like everything, nothing really specific, just more like...
Correct,
total.
yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a couple questions, thank you.
Okay. Next is the zoning report for April 2026. Looking for a motion to pay the CK COG in the amount of $1,661.63. Motion by Linda, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Matt. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mrs. Hickes?
Yes.
Mrs. Hacksberg?
Yes. Ordinances and resolutions.
So the first ordinance is amending the park rules. And this amendment was done kind of at the YMCA's request. The only difference between this resolution and the one before is with regard to the age limit to be considered to attend a pool loan. So it was previously 8 years of age, now it's 10.
Sorry,
It was previously 8 years of age, and now it's 10 years of age.
without there.
Unattended.
Yes.
Thank you, Trixie.
Looking for a motion for,
I have some questions. So this is the pool rules and the park rules,
Yep.
right? Okay. It feels like we have some redundant rules here. Like the no littering, feels like that's already a rule somewhere else. No profanity doesn't seem like a rule that should even be a rule, arguably. I know that this is procedural because the Y has asked for it. There are rules here that I disagree with. I'm going to be a no. I would imagine this is going to pass anyway. So, and if it doesn't pass and that somehow holds back what the Y needs, I'd be willing to reconsider. But I think these rules are problematic in some ways, and for that reason, I'm going to be a no on this.
So which specific rules?
No profanity is not a thing that can be a rule. That's bonkers. To tell someone that they can't curse in the park is just not a rule that's reasonable, right? So it shouldn't be there, right? If someone's disturbing the peace, that's different, right? Trace and those guys can go through that, but yeah. I knew this is a surprise for folks, but this is one of the things I have issues with. It's a minor thing, so I apologize to catch Margaret off guard. I know I try to not do that. But.
Was that the only one, Lance, or?
Let's see. I think no weapons is actually problematic in some ways, believe it or not, but it's a bigger discussion. No profanity, no littering is redundant. No sitting on picnic tabletops, that's a wild rule. No drawing or carving. Yeah, go ahead. I agree.
Can we follow procedure?
Looking for a motion for resolution 2026-10.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2026-10, amending the Mifflinburg Borough Community Park pool rules.
Motion by Linda, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Matt. Okay, keep discussing, Lance.
Yeah. What else do we got here?
So the no littering or loitering?
Yeah, no littering. No loitering is probably problematic too, but that you should just call the question and vote, unless other people.
I would like to hear your opinion on number 7, no weapons, and your logic behind that.
Just Second Amendment, right? If someone's carrying down there, I'm pretty sure
Private property.
All right, great. So you're right on that one, but I'm still going to be I question whether or not that's allowed. I think it's hard to enforce. It feels problematic to me. And there's probably already a rule, right? Like, why do we need a local rule for that? Trace or you or whoever is the officer probably already has a rule for weapons. Yeah. Drawing or carving on picnic tables, that's got to already be a rule. So yeah, my issue with this is it's just redundant. And when we do the signage down there, it reads as like, no. So.
Okay. Anybody else have any discussion on this?
When you say already a rule, what do you mean by that?
I mean that if it's a problem, Trace probably, or the relevant folks probably have a way to enforce it already, right? So like, I'm generally going to be against anything that is redundant. And this particular rule set is one of the prime examples in the borough where I think we have a lot of rules that are redundant. And for that reason, I'm going to say we shouldn't have them because they already exist somewhere else.
Rules versus laws are gonna be different for us to enforce. We're not gonna be down there enforcing rules of the park all the time. We just don't have that manpower and time to do. So, I mean, I would say if you're talking rules, that's gonna be stuff the staff is gonna be addressing until there's a crime.
Okay.
So if you take out the no weapons on here and somebody sees somebody carrying, they can't do anything about it, correct?
Yeah, it's like
Or a
Colby just
knife
said, it's
or-
private property. If it's not permitted there, we can enforce that. Matter of fact, I remember a swim meet last year. An off-duty officer came from work from another area and showed up with a gun and was asked to put it in his car because it was alarming people.
Okay.
But this resolution is what makes it not allowed, correct?
Right. But it's also in our park rules, as far as I know as well.
Isn't that what this is?
Yeah, the park rules are mixed.
So then this is
Okay.
This is actually a good example, right? So I would say then in that situation, if that off-duty officer or that individual is lawfully carrying, I do not have a problem with that in the town park or the town pool at all. If the only thing that made that illegal was this rule, I question whether we need that rule.
So what about Joe Citizen who's just carrying?
If they can
openly carrying,
Yep.
just walking around with a.
Yep, I do not have a problem with that either, Trace. If they can do it on Chestnut Street, I do not have a problem with them doing it in the park. Now, if they're like intimidating people or they're breaking some other rule that you guys know with respect to how that works, that's a different situation. And I'm sure you already have a rule for that.
Rule or law?
Law. Let's say law. Thank you.
What about a teenager that's carrying a knife?
That's what I was thinking, they get in a fight down there and stab another kid. Can't make it legal for one and not all.
Go ahead, yeah, absolutely.
I'm just gonna comment that having been a teacher for many years and seeing the behavior of kids change in 30 years, how I addressed behavior with my students was always to let them know what the guidelines were, what were the parameters, because you can never let it be said that you didn't tell them. That's one statement. The second statement is, in today's society, a lot of young people don't get the guidance that they should get from their parents or guardians. And I think some guidelines, letting people know what behaviors are going, will be tolerated and won't be tolerated, are necessary, just the way things are today. That's just my opinion. I know it sounds prohibitive to say know this, know that, know this, but it's a fact. That's how you have to say it. You can't say it in any other way, in my opinion. You just have to say, here are the rules, follow the rules, and things will go well with the park and the pool.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree in the sense of the signage. Yeah, if we posted this, that kind of is a little bit like, whoa. But in the same token, I think you need to have it somewhere. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be, 4 or 5 of them. But if somebody is doing like swearing or saying inappropriate things and they say, well, why am I getting in trouble? There's no rule against it. At least you have something to say. Number 6 right there. You are not allowed to do this. I'm giving you your warning if you did not know that that was a rule. If we move forward and it continues, number 6. Like, I think you just have to have something to fall back on that is like, no, that is a rule. You cannot do that. If it's not there, what do you have to ride on? Nothing.
Anything else? So that was a motion by Linda, second by Matt. Let's do a roll call on that, please.
Where are we at? Mr. Miller,
No.
Mr. Russell,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mrs. Hykes,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mrs. Hackett.
Yes.
Okay, the next resolution, I'm not sure about this, but it's just a resolution that allows us to submit the Greenways Trails Recreation Program grant to the Commonwealth Financing Agency for Community Park Greenways Access and Trail Enhancement. This is that project I talked about that just moved, that we applied for once and didn't get, which did the parking on the western end of the park and eliminated the roadway between the top lot and the street. And so this is, we're reapplying for that. Bob doesn't quite have all the numbers together yet, so we would.
Not to my fault.
We would let you know the numbers when we have it, but we need this resolution to accompany the application, which is due at the end of this month.
So just to let you know, because I know that the bottom line is everyone wants to know the money, right? So the grant max is 250. Last numbers I had from Tracy, we were at like 244,000. And I know that numbers, we're gonna probably hit the max based on the estimates I have from the electrical foreman here. We're waiting on, we have some stuff that we're having trouble getting prices on is the issue on the electrical side. So we are probably gonna be all in at 250, and I'll probably have Karen, as in Karen Musser, cut some costs yet from her wish list in order to make that 250. So you are required of a match, a fundamental match of that of 15%. So that's $37,500. I also want to mention, not only will you have matching in the way of funds, we'll have some time and effort down there with our electrical crew to do those electrical improvements. And some of that match money's for the electrical cost to upgrade. I'm not talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, but probably like in the neighborhood of 30 to 40 for materials and labor. from the guys. So, grant amount, probably looking at project cost of $250 and 15% match fundamentally from you.
Okay, we're looking for a motion for resolution number 2026-11.
So, second.
Colby first, Lance second. Matt has a question?
Yeah, my question is, what are the other components of the project besides the road movement and some electrical things? Are there other components?
Parking is the big thing, the parking lot. So the parking lot, we applied for it last
At
year.
the west end?
Yes, where the volleyball courts are now. So the parking would be moved over there and the driveway access.
That's all I need to know.
Yep.
Any further questions?
Does that include landscape buffering for the folks in Mr. Raker's backyard, for example?
Well, it wouldn't be at Mr. Raker's, be
Just that row of
Solly's,
houses.
For the
like,
new road,
the new parking lot, you mean.
yeah.
I can't remember there's two houses there. There's a planned buffer area of some evergreens along the edge of the parking lot. But it is gonna be close to the backyard. I alluded to you guys before, that was the case. But
And there
is
was
street-
letters sent out to those folks, because remember
Yeah,
wanted
we sent
letters
out to
sent
the
out?
two, I think it's two.
Okay.
It's two homes there. I don't remember their names, I'm sorry. It was
Okay,
last
well, I
year.
mean, just so they were notified,
Yeah.
that'd be good.
So you're saying the landscaping is in the project?
Yes, it's part of the parking lot
Thank you.
portion. It's not a huge area, it's just plant, you plant the trees, they might be this big till they grow, you know.
No.
Any further discussion on that? So Colby made the motion, Lance seconded it. Misty, you got that? Okay. Do a roll call vote on that too, please.
So, Mr. Russell,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mrs. Hikus,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Hackenberg.
Yes.
Okay, this next resolution, I'll do a little introduction and I'll let Noah take it from there. We received notification, that Wellspan Evangelical Mobile Medical Services, it's a mouthful, is taking over from, ERRMS, who did the, ambulance services before, and said that we may want to do a resolution, acknowledging this. And, I sent it to Noah and said, I don't know, do we? I could not find any other resolutions that we had done, other than when we housed the ambulance in part of the fire hall way back when. That was quite a while ago, but I couldn't find any other resolution that said as much. So, I'll let Noah take it from there. Dave provided us with a sample that looked like the one that's in your packet.
Sure. My view was simply that if they're going to cover our area, it's probably not necessary to do a resolution, but there is no harm in so doing. And if they have a sample resolution that has been used in other municipalities, then we ought to just pass that simple resolution. It's really very simple, and it really changes no effect from what has already been taking place. It just memorializes it. And Dave, the mayor, is on this group, and he had provided this sample resolution, which then is what you see in front of you. I don't know if you have anything you want to add, Dave.
So, yeah, Jonathan sent me the resolution, as you saw, it requires just an update.
Yep.
The only thing I can remember even remotely close to this, we have something with the host company, don't we? A resolution that says they're our first two.
Mhm.
Apart from that, like you said, it's a memorialization.
Yep.
Looking for a motion for resolution 2026-12.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2026-12, acknowledging the change in ownership of the ambulance company.
Motion by Linda, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Matt. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please, Misty.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mrs. Hikus,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Russell,
Yes.
Mrs. Hackenberg.
Yes.
HRG for supplement for water resource development plan assistance. We talked about this really briefly during the work session, and we got a revised version from Dave earlier this week or the end of last week, and I did send that all out to you late. I apologize. This is regarding the plan that we have to submit to the SRPC. It's 6 months from the date of our report to submit it. So looking for your approval on that.
What are the wishes of council?
I make a motion to approve the engineering proposal from HRG for the supplement for water resource development plan assistance.
I'll second that.
Motion by Linda, second by Lance.
I have one question here on this and the next agenda item. Where is the line between what HRG, I mean, you know where I'm going with this, HRG versus ARM for this work?
So ARM Group is a hydrogeology firm, in this instance at least. Chris Vision is the hydrogeologist that we've been working with already, with coordinating with the SRBC. We don't have that staff in-house to complete that work, and what we're asking for ARM to help out with, it's almost like a partnership, although they're two separate contracts. They would be doing the desktop analysis and looking at potential for future sources within the borough and around the area where the borough is. Looking at I'm not a hydrogeologist, but underground aquifers and the soils and the rock formations and things like that.
So
we would be taking their report and including it in the overall plan that is required for SRBC, but we're also planning on taking a deeper look into the unaccounted for water and tying in with the audit from DEP from a couple of years back that we had gotten.
So is it fair to summarize, like, they're doing the science, you guys are doing more of the engineering and project management of like the whole system as part of this?
But with the caveat that the science that they're doing is all underground stuff. It's all the hydrogeology for the new source itself, and they're not touching anything with the current
existing
system or anything like that.
And it's more of a plan, Lance, than it is engineering.
Okay.
Because we have to submit a plan to SRBC for them to.
Right. And then
accept.
all of the other projects, like if you say we're going to fix a pipe, we're not getting the actual engineering to fix that section of street.
Correct.
We're just getting the plan that says these are the sections of street you need to fix. Is that fair?
Yes, but I don't envision this plan having that much detail saying
Okay,
we
so
need to
less
fix
than
this street, right?
Okay.
It's going to be more, these are the strategies that the borough can move forward with to identify the locations of potential leaks, that sort of thing, beyond what DEP already has recommended or suggested, and sort of memorializing that into a overall plan of action for addressing the leaks in the whole system, basically. And then on the new source development side, obviously that's a very procedural, stepwise approach. You do this desktop evaluation first, and then based on what those results are, the decision can be made to move forward with doing test wells, and then, obviously there's a land ownership component to that, if the locations that are chosen aren't currently owned by the borough, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a long process of the actual design that would need to go into that following this plan. It's just kind of setting up a timeline for that based on the SRBC's required plan that has an end date essentially of when the allocation drops down to what they want it to be in terms of the total gallons.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes.
For HRG's portion of the overall plan, you'll be submitting some strategies for the water loss reduction. Will you also be submitting strategies or giving us some strategies for conservation as far as what the borough can do and recommendations of what our customers can do?
Yeah, I mean, that's not currently part of what our scope says, but there are certainly things that we can provide, other resources that other clients of ours have to give to you guys to see if that's something that you'd like to try to implement further or help to provide for the community. Certainly, yeah.
Any else? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? What was that roll? That would
It
be,
needs to be roll call, money.
okay. Roll call, Misty.
Mrs. Higgins,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis. Yes. Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Russell,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mrs. Hackenberg.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is the proposal from ARM for their assistance for the water resource development plan.
What are the wishes of council?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal from ARM for the water resource development plan assistance.
Motion by Linda, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Lance. And this is just for the proposal? It is? Okay.
Yep.
Roll call vote?
Ms. Lewis? Yes. Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mrs. Higgins?
Yes.
Mrs. Hackenberg.
Yes.
Okay, we also have seen a engineering proposal from HRG for the Chestnut Street, 8th Street Water Main Project. Sent that out via email, looking for your approval of that.
What are the wishes of council?
I make the motion to approve the engineering proposal from HRG for Chestnut Street, 8th Street Water Main Project.
Motion by Linda, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Matt. Roll call vote.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mrs. Higgins?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mrs. Hackenberg.
Yes.
We had talked previously that we were awarded a CFA grant for sewer repairs. We recently got the contract from the state, and I had forwarded it to Noah for his review, and he has said it's good to go. So need your approval to sign.
I'll make a motion, we sign the grant contract for the CFA grant for sewer repairs.
Second.
Motion by Colby, second by Matt. This is matching? This is a matching grant as well?
I'm sure it is. This one's been a bit.
Small water sewer or H2O.
Yes.
Those two, then it would be.
It is matching.
I think that's 15% too, isn't
If
it?
it's H2O, it's 50, but if it's small water sewer, it's 15.
It's 15.
The CFA is 15.
15% match.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I thought you said 50.
H2O is 50.
Oh, yes. I thought 15 stuck in my mind.
Okay.
And
So
we didn't get the full amount either. We got a little bit less. But
Oh, okay.
take the money and run.
Yeah. All right, so motion by Colby, second by Matt. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mrs. Higgins?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Hackenberg.
Yes.
So for letter E, it just got carried over from last month's agenda. Nobody called me on it until today, Misty. So it's on there, so I'm gonna skip over that one because turns out we did it last month. So, sorry about that. And, Rob, I'll let you take the bids.
Well, you guys, this was on your agenda last month, and Margaret sent out an email. I don't know if did you push that out
I
again today?
didn't get a chance.
So shortly thereafter, there was a lot of discussion at last month's meeting about seeing if you could basically make this work and award the alternate. But you have the packet of bids that we got in your, or you have the bids in your packet for tonight's council meeting on the base bid. The low bidder is GR Charles, and then the alternate. And we were talking about different ways to whether we could fund the alternate and just do everything in. We were close, but and you know some of the discussions that were had. It's just purely your decision and what your wishes are, unless you have questions for I'm sure maybe Margaret.
Sorry, I forgot I was gonna take this one.
Yeah,
Just saw it on the agenda.
Last month, we asked if there was room in the budget, and to look to see if there was.
Right. So there were two things that happened from last month. Number one was Lance asked Noah about the use of electric capital reserve funds for any other projects. And then you also tasked me with finding some ways to cover it. I sent an email out to all of you on April 30th that had, that kind of broke things out for you. Basically, so we had budgeted $922,250 for this job so far. But the breakdown inside the budget was general, 604,250, water 192, sewer 126, and that's what totaled that 922. And then I took the low bid, because both the bid and the alternate, and I broke it down by fund as well. In the general, there could be change orders or whatever, but in the initial bid, it's 465, the water is 370, 815, and the sewer is 126. So the sewer worked out just fine. The general seems like we have more budgeted there than we needed on the surface, but we are short on water. So I gave you some ideas from the water capital projects that you could use to cover that, which would be $53,000 that we had put aside to do 8th Street water main, but that can't be done separately from the Chestnut Street water main, so it would be deferred till next year anyway, so you could use that money. And we have in the water distribution maintenance budget $150,000. So you could use the funds from those two items to cover the water shortfall. After the project's done, you can reallocate the general, however you want to do that. And I think that Noah can speak to what his assignment was. So that's my assignment. You asked where I would cover it, and that's how I would do it.
Yes, certainly. I'm happy to do that if folks. I did send a letter around regarding the existing law, because the question specifically to me was regarding electric. And so I would first refer you to that, but the conclusion is that you folks received that, didn't you? Good. The ultimate conclusion here is that what the courts are concerned about is whether or not you're allocating funds basically from one tax base that then don't help another tax base, or one payee base that then does, or payor base that then doesn't assist other folks, right? So if your sewer area, if you're using funds that were collected from an area outside of the borough to do work within the borough, you are then kind of depriving those taxpayers, those citizens, of those funds that you collected from them. And so that's the primary concern. So my ultimate conclusion here is that with electric, because you're not regulated by the PUC, you do have the ability to use electric funds because the way we bill electric, you bill the townships separately. So they can be used, but you want to make sure that you do it in a limited manner. But the law does allow for the use of the electric funds for improvements in sewer. It doesn't go the other way though. You shouldn't use sewer and water for electric, water for sewer, sewer for water. But electric, you may use that.
Just to clarify, we don't bill the townships for electric at all. We bill them for water and sewer.
That's what I meant. My apologies. Any questions about my letter? I'm happy to talk about it more in executive session as well. Okay.
I guess the alternative, to back up, the other alternative is just to do the base bid. So you can do that because that's fully covered by what's already been budgeted. If you wanted to do both pieces, base bid 1 and alternate 1, that's where the creative problem solving comes in.
Is alternatives, I'm sorry. Is the alternative aspects of the project something that we will do later?
Yeah, so the idea was, when we bid the project, we bid 2 blocks of Walnut Street. We had fully budgeted for the, between 3rd and 4th Streets to do that, and then the alternate is between 3rd and 2nd Street. So, Rob could probably explain this better, but we knew we had covered enough for we knew we had budgeted enough for the first part of it, and it continues a project. We decided that if we bid as an alternate, we'd at the least know that what we would need to budget to do that at a later project, right? Because we have an idea what it would cost. And at best, we might be able to afford to do both, depending on how the pricing comes in. When the pricing comes in, when you do an alternate like that, sometimes you have less like mobilization costs, because you're only gonna pay that once if they're here doing it all at one time. If we bid them separately, you'll have that twice.
I'm sorry. The biggest cost savings here to do the project consecutively is the water part of it. Because when you're building new water line, if we don't do the next block, you're gonna have valving we have to install to tie the lines back in at 3rd Street.
So that's.
And then later on, yes, and you have to put extra valving in to tie it back in. There's no way around it. And then when you build the next leg, some of them go away. They're kind of disposable. It doesn't sound like, but that's what you have to do to get the next block built. I think to me, and they can correct me if I'm wrong, Margaret, no, you have 3 options to look at tonight. Either you're just gonna award the base bid, that's option number 1. Option number 2 may be the base bid and the alternate based on Margaret's breakdown of where she can come up with the money as far as the different funds and how she spelled it out to you in the email. Or you can do the base bid and the alternate bid based on Lance's, push to transfer the funds from the electric. So I think there's the 3 things you gotta weigh what your decisions are. Is that fair?
Fair. I mean, they could theoretically come up with anything else.
Sure, yeah, but I guess the ones you've talked about, they're your 3 options. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. So.
What are the wishes of council?
I make a motion to award the base bid and the alternate number 1 to GNR Charles Excavating LTD, using the funds that Margaret has laid out in the April 30th email.
Motion by Linda, is there a second?
I will second that.
Second by Lance, any further discussion?
Yeah, so Margaret, you talked about mobilization costs. Rob, you talked about some like valving costs. Can you guys rough estimate how much that incremental is? Is it like 10,000, 50,000? What does that look
Some
like?
contractors, they put a lot of money in MOB, some don't. Let's see what they have in here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man,
Is it
that's
in there?
tiny.
Maybe magnify.
I'm real struggling here.
Yeah, I don't know that I can read this.
Laura's young, give it to her.
I don't see MOB on the list.
Yep, I remember.
MOB's, generally for a project this size, is probably gonna be a neighborhood of between, I'm guessing, $12,000 to $20,000.
Okay.
But
Will they have a job training?
probably just depends on what all they have to.
Yeah, it seems a little low. I mean, it depends on where, if it's a local contractor who shares the street, yes.
Yeah.
These guys are, Charles coming out of
Port Trevor, yeah.
They got one job training.
Okay. So the reason I asked that question is this is about a $500,000 project for the alternate one that we're adding. If we let that money sit in the bank, regardless of whether it's in the electricity fund or the electricity or the water capital projects fund, it's going to earn less than 4% over the next year, which is like $20,000. So the difference between waiting a year plus we anticipate prices going up, I would say it's a bad financial choice to wait a year and do this separately when we have the resources we have in the bank and we have the ability, after we perhaps write an ordinance, to move money around. So that's why I support what Linda has set forth here.
Rob, the valves you talk about that they have to put in.
Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't answer that question. So, valves cost anywhere like 5,000 to 8,000 probably, depending on the size. I think it's 10-inch valve, and up at 3rd Street, there's a, forgive me because I'm going from memory here. There's a 6-inch line, I believe. I'm sorry,
I
what?
think it's $4,300. That I might be able to read. 8-inch gate valve,
Yep.
$4,300.
For the material itself.
That's just the materials, that's not the labor.
My
And
question.
you're gonna have at least 4 valves there, I think is what I recall, to tie in, back in addition than you would normally. Because normally at that block, we would just have, the 2 valves on the main that goes through the intersection. Make sense?
Yes. However, would you not have that for the section of road where it's going to stop? If you do 3rd and 4th, aren't you still gonna have to put them in at the end of 4th, because we're not doing 5th?
Going that way.
Or whatever way we're going. What I'm trying to get at is, we're adding a block because we're concerned about spending money to put valves in, but would it not, am I misunderstanding that even if we go another block,
Wouldn't you put them in somewhere?
you're gonna have to put them at the end of that block, correct? Because we're not tying
Correct.
5th, 6th, we're not continuously running.
But if you only do this first block now, you have valves, and then you do the next block next year, you have more valves. So you're eliminating the middle valves by doing it together.
Because when you come back next year, you're gonna, I said dispose, you're gonna, some of those valves, you're just
They get
pull them
eliminated.
out, they get eliminated, and then you're gonna put them at the end of that next block.
But there's still gonna be valves.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
there's still valves.
Okay, anything else?
And I believe there's some 10-inch valves?
There was 10 and 8,
I thought you said
10
8.
was 43, 8 is 3,100.
yeah.
I thought you said there were 10 inches, that's why I went
Yep.
43.
So we have a motion by Linda, second by Lance. Anything else? And that was for the base bid and the alternate number 1.
I just have a clarification on the motion that we made that's on the table. That was to have Margaret fund the money in the current budget, that was not to transfer money out of the electric fund.
Yeah, how she's laid it out in the April 30th email with $150,000 coming from the water maintenance and the $53,000 coming from a different project that's not going to be done until next year.
So that would not be coming out of the electrical reserve.
Incorrect.
I had one clarification to my comments earlier, which is that if you do seek to use monies in the electric fund, it should be done by ordinance with hearing and advertisement because of the existing case law.
If you take it out of
If you take it out of the electric fund to allocate it to a different utility, it should be done via ordinance with public advertising. And that's to ensure, because what it's trying to avoid is depriving people of their constitutional right to their property. And because utilities are tied to property rights and that sort of thing, there's actually a Pennsylvania constitutional issue involved. I can talk about it more later.
Okay. Anything else? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mrs. Sakis,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Russell,
Yes.
Mrs. Hackenberg.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
All right, do we need to go talk the electric one in executive? I thought we were looking for attorney advisement on
You were.
Okay.
I can speak to it now. It's up to you. I don't think it's anything that's. I mean, you folks got one bidder, and this is the second time that the borough's bid the project. There's only one bidder. The borough has a couple of options: accept the bid, reject the bid, and rebid, or negotiate with the individual contractor. That is an option permitted by law. So those are the three options the borough presently has.
The bid tab is in your packet, being it's one bidder. It's $126,100 McCrossin was the only bidder.
The estimated, bid cost was 50.
So, the only thing I will mention, and we discussed this internally, the grant has to be expired by September, is the issue of concern. We've already awarded the contract to Gutilius for the GC, and the pre-con was held on the 14th of the month, and they were given notice to proceed. So what I will warn you with, if for some reason you decide that you want to rebid, and we hold up Gutilius in no way, shape, or form, there's that term liquidated damages, tables would be reversed if we hold them up because our electric contractor isn't here, or we don't have an electric contract, we can pay damages, would have to pay, could end up paying damages to Gutilius. So I just want to make you aware of that. That is a potential problem.
I will just add, I guess, that we wanted to make sure Gutilius got up and running because of the upstream water main replacement requirements for this project. The water main needs to be installed and tested and passed and operational before the booster station can be online because of the way that the piping works. It's currently the bottleneck, and we'd be stressing the existing pipe out there, the 4-inch, more than we'd like to. So by having Gutilius' contract started earlier, it actually is okay for now, that they have the ability, and they just submitted a lot of the equipment submittals to us today. So we can start taking a look at those, and they're gonna be able to get rolling on the water main stuff ahead of the booster station portion, which is gonna be what the electrical needs to be part of. So there's no electrical part of the water main work itself, obviously. It's more the actual booster station itself.
You may remember, we procured the booster station itself separately already and ordered it because there was a pretty good lead time.
Yeah, so
6
we're
months.
still on manufacturing right now for that. For submittals are approved, and we're waiting for the delivery to take place hopefully in August or so.
What did you say the amount was that was budgeted?
50.
So the amount budgeted for the electrical was estimated at 50. The GC was estimated at, hold on, sorry.
We're still way under budget with both,
Yes.
even going with the higher electrical contract.
That was my next
Does
question.
this make sense as a percentage, do you think?
Of the bid?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems high, realistically, and I talked to our electrical engineer who did the estimate. Obviously, he's gonna think that it's high because he did the estimate, but it's a pretty small effort in terms of what is actually being required of the electrical contractor in terms of like the conduits and the wiring and all that stuff and the startup. There are some things that they asked questions, that bidder asked questions during the bid process that might lead us to believe that they're estimating higher than we did on some things, the power system study and things like that. I'm not an electrical engineer either, so I don't know all the details necessarily, but the overall, yes, it seems 2.5 times almost higher than our estimate, yes.
So you said the electrical work is fairly simple?
I mean, it's fairly minimal in terms of
Right.
the grand scope of the project.
So
yes.
is this something our electrical guys can do or no? No, okay.
And unfortunately, no, I shouldn't say unfortunately, there's a law, the Separations Act, that required us to bid this work separately from the GC, to make a separate electrical contract. $4,000 is the maximum for including a electrical or plumbing portion of a bid into a single contract.
So you said even with what we budgeted for the general contractor, there's an.
Yeah, Dave was getting ready to give you numbers, but there's.
Oh.
Yeah, so basically the summary there is that the delta between the low bid for electrical and our estimate is less than the delta between our low bid and our estimate on the other way for the general contract. So we estimated higher than the low bid on the general contract.
I think what Bev's, do you have the numbers there with
Yeah,
the,
so
what was the estimate for the
estimate was
project, the GC?
834.
What was it?
834.
And the bids came in at?
I don't have that, that's at my fingers, let me look.
It was 4 something, I think.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
I'll say 498, don't trust me.
You and I are on the same page?
Oh, I think I got it.
498.
498, you got it.
There you go.
Is it correct that we're going to have an executive session with Dave earlier in the meeting and then later? Yeah, could I make a motion to table this decision until after the executive session with Dave? I have some questions about negotiation that I think makes sense to do in that first engineering executive session.
If you're looking for attorney advisement, that's fine.
Is that what you're doing, Lance? Looking
Yes.
for attorney advisement?
Yes, with respect to commercial negotiation.
So then would you make a motion to go into executive?
I'm making a motion to table this issue until after that executive session.
Is this where we were going into executive session anyhow with Dave?
Well, yeah, we could. He also was the engineer for the ADA corner, so he'd be here for that as well.
Okay, so Lance, would you like to make a motion?
Sure. I will rescind that earlier motion and make a motion to enter executive session for attorney advisement on commercial negotiation with Dave.
Okay, it is 7:01. Lance has a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Linda. We will go into executive session for.
It's not good.
And we're back. But thanks.
Oh, we're waiting. Oh, Misty's still
Misty,
gone?
yeah, we had to get Misty back.
Yes, can't move on with that.
Nope, we cannot.
The secretary.
Okay, so,
Back to electric work on H2O.
well, she'll need to know the motion in the
The
second.
motion was made to come back into regular session at 7:30. Motion was made by Lance, seconded by Matt.
Okay, now we're back on track.
And we lost Rob and.
Oh, I didn't realize Colby was
We're-
not here, sorry.
Bev, we're on G. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. I'll make a motion to award the bid for the electrical work on the H2O project to McCrossan. Is that the correct pronunciation? In the amount listed, $126,100.
Motion by Lance, second by Matt. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Hikas?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mrs. Hackberg?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just gonna go on with this, Rob, I guess. So you have in your packet the bid tabulation for the ADA corners. This is CDBG funds.
You want me to give a little summary?
Please.
Sure. So we opened bid at the same time as the electrical rebid actually last Thursday. We received 5 bidders on that one, so a lot more than one. Just for general reference, our pre-bid estimated construction cost on that one was, we have a base bid and a bunch of alternates. So overall, our construction estimate was $126,000 for the base plus all 5 alternates. The low bidder came in at, which is Big Rock Paving LLC, a base bid of $76,120.95. And if you included all of the alternates, their total would be $95,095.95.
95, 95.
So we're still at like 5,000 a corner.
I have a question.
Yep. So the,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, the options in front of council are to, again, an authorized bid or reject them. Or you have the option to select 1 alternate, 2 alternate, 3 alternate, 4 alternate, or 5 alternate, all of them. But what I wanted to clarify is that you can only choose them in the order in which they're listed. So since it's alternate ramp number 1, which is ramp number 19, that needs to come before alternate ramp 19 and 20. Come before 19, 20, and 21, and so on.
Or they could just do all of them.
Or you can do all that.
I'll-
And what is your recommendation?
Our recommendation is to do all of that.
I'll make a motion to award the bid for the CDBG 88 corners in the amount of $95,095.95 for the base bid plus all 5 alternates to Big Rock Paving LLC.
Motion by Lance, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mara. Questions? Matt?
Now,
Where are they from?
Okay. Any other questions?
There's no reason to think they're a non-responsible bidder. We've worked with them before in some capacity.
We have not worked with them before.
Okay, but we haven't had a bad experience with them.
Montour, they're from Montour.
Yeah, they're from Montour.
Okay.
So I will say that they've bid on a number of projects that we put out, and they've always been not below for us. So I've never worked with them.
They bid on the paving stuff, you'll be dealing with their short one too.
Okay.
Okay.
What was the rest of it?
126,000.
With the contingency. So it's very close actually to our estimate, with 114,000.
Okay. So it is the motion by Lance, seconded by Mara. Any other discussions? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
no.
Mrs. Hackenberg?
Yes.
Or Mrs. Hikas?
Yes.
Mrs. Hackenberg?
Yes. I guess I can bring it close.
Yep, they did that.
There's a word as
Except it's paving road.
In your packet for tonight's council meeting is the bid tab for the annual paving project that we do every year based on our liquid fuels allocation. Jason and I opened bids here, I believe it was on Friday, and you can see the bidders that responded was Gatilius, MJ Excavating, Hall Baker, and Big Rock, which we just were discussing. The low bidder on the project is Dave Gatilius Excavating in the amount of $5,779.90. So council has a decision to award that.
This is the liquid fuels fund.
What are the wishes of council?
Make a motion to award the contract for annual paving to Dave Gatilius Excavating Inc. The amount of $105,779.90.
Motion by Lance, is there a second? Second by Linda. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
yes.
Mrs. Hikas?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mrs. Hackenberg?
Yes.
I sent you all an email previously about our meeting with the CEDACOG person who administers the CDBG funds for the county. And in our discussions with her, we talked about submitting a sewer project for this year that would coordinate with a bigger sewer project that we would submit for a competitive grant. That's not due until February, but these would be contingent. So looking for your authorization to scope out and submit a sewer repair project to the county for CDBG this year.
What are the wishes of council?
I'll make that motion, but I won't repeat on
Motion by Linda,
Second.
second by Mara. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
In your packet for tonight's council meeting is the first payout for the Cherry Street project. So the contract price was $169,140.50. The work completed to date that we're asking for authorization from council to pay is $48,806.55. Asking council's authorization. Act number 1.
I'll make a motion that we authorize to pay application number 1.
And that's for mid-state, sorry, I should have mentioned that.
Second.
Motion by Colby, second by Lance. Any further discussion?
Work going well so far, Rob?
Yes.
Good.
Yep, I was gonna give some updates
Well,
on
maybe a
that.
yes and no.
Well,
Potato? Okay. No reason to not pay him, though. right?
No, nothing to do with, yeah.
Withhold funds.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mrs. Psychic?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Hackenberg?
Yes.
Okay. I have this on the agenda again. You had authorized me to get a quote from the YMCA for the operation of the concession stand. So they did update, they had originally provided us with a quote of $8,000 of labor. That did not include the administrative fees and the taxes. That total makes it go to $9,600. So I wanted to bring that back to your attention and get approval for that.
What are the wishes?
I'll make a motion, we enter an agreement with the YMCA to run the concession stand for food.
Motion by Colby, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mara. Any further discussion?
Full disclosure here, I haven't heard back from the Department of Ag yet to get their facility license. Trying. So it might not open at the
No
same
dog
time.
for you.
We're gonna roll those hot dogs one way or another.
Kobe's showing up with a gas grill and stood him there.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, nothing's better than a rolled hot dog. Maybe a boiled hot dog.
Any further discussion on that? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mrs. Psychic?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mrs. Hackenberg?
Yes.
I guess I'm looking for some direction regarding a reapplication to invest for a sewer project. So there are two opportunities that we have to apply. The first one would be in July for, when is the meeting? I can't remember. The deadline's July for October. And then the next one is October for January.
October or November, I forget which, it's like toward the end of October or November.
So, we, as you know, we applied previously. We got an offer, but the offer did not include any, assistance, grant assistance. It also did not include any, it included the county cap rates, not a lower, interest rate that they do sometimes to make the funding offers more attractive. So we, have pursued some answers on some of the questions that we had, why things weren't, included, in the calculations. I'm not sure that we've gotten any better answers. We've gotten some suggestions as to how we can change things. And this would be, if we submitted in July, they would use the 2024 audit numbers. If we submit in October, I think they might accept the 2024 numbers, but they would expect us to get the 2025 audit to them for consideration during that time period.
To be clear, the July application, you'd also need to submit the 2025 audit when you have it as
Right.
well. But it would not be contingent upon the offer in that case.
Right. And we are required to submit our audit to them every year by September 30th. It's a requirement, but I guess I'm just kind of thinking further ahead.
Does it cost anything? Like we have the entire application done. Is that fair with 2024? Is it just basically telling HRG and Margaret go?
So the last application was with 2023, I believe.
Okay, so
Is
update
that-
financial.
So they would have to redo the numbers, which are
Or better.
obviously different.
Yeah, probably better. Yeah, I think.
They're marginally better. If there could be a letter from your former auditor, which I think is what for Margaret.
Yeah,
about
on the
the
transfer. Okay, so, and then if we apply in July, right, and we find out in October, we can still apply again in February of 2027, but at that point, we're now in 2029 to break ground. Is that right?
February 2027 for a meeting in, is it May? Is it a May meeting?
Yeah.
So then you have 6 months from May, so it'd be 2028.
2028? Okay. And if we apply now, we could potentially break ground 2027 if we hear back in October?
October.
Doable?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion to reapply for July using 2024 numbers Do you need some kind of like monetary cap?
Well,
What do you
I
need?
guess I'd be interested in knowing, it's this same scope of project
Yes.
as we did the last time, which was $8,075,000.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
As scoped, with the estimated costs, or if you wanted to pursue,
Smaller.
yep,
Okay. So I'll make the motion for the original scope, and we'll see where that goes.
Motion by Lance, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Colby. Questions? My question is, what did we pay HRG to help us with this application? Sorry.
I'll find it quick.
Okay. I mean, I guess my question would be,
there will be additional costs associated with it.
right, but it was quite costly the first time because of gathering all the information.
Yeah, so the feedback I got from our financial services folks, that it would be a couple thousand more for the reapplication.
Not more of what we, like,
A couple $1,000 to reapply.
versus not a couple thousand
So-
onto what we originally to.
$2,000 is what he said.
Okay.
Correct, yeah, not a whole
Gotcha.
other contract. No, correct.
Gotcha. Right.
Just give me one moment, I'm sorry.
It was,
You don't have that written on your hand?
I thought it was as well.
60,
Yeah, with over
65,
50.
but that was 60% design. I don't remember. Don't trust me. I don't feel confident with that. I felt confident with the 498.
Yep, I did too.
Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because it's not
Almost
gonna,
there.
it's not gonna be that anyhow.
Could be 2,000 at most.
17,300.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was.
Sounds way off.
Yeah, okay. All right, so the motion is by Lance, second by Colby to submit the re-application for the Penvest Sewer project. You said July, Lance?
Yep.
Okay. Same scope.
Yep.
Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Hikas?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mrs. Hackenberg?
Yes.
Okay. So, we have a new auditor now, and I was able to have a conversation with him about, changing the way that we account for the utility expenditures between funds. So in other words, how much electricity the sewer plant uses would be reflected as a utility expense versus an interfund transfer. So he said he did not have a problem with that, it made sense. But he did suggest that, a motion be made to amend the 2025 and 2026 budgets to reflect the interfund utility transfers as utility expenses, as a way to cover our bases for doing it that way. It's on the books that you've authorized that. So I'm requesting that you consider making that amendment to the budget.
So moved. Change the account names, but not the amounts, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Motion by Lance, is there a second? Second by Linda. Roll call, I guess. Oh no, we don't need roll call. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I was looking at transfers and I'm like.
Yeah.
Rob, did you?
Yeah, I will apologize with everything happened today. I didn't get my report finished, so you're gonna get a verbal tonight and I'll follow up in the next day or two. And I apologize, but it was.
Shit happens, right?
So I'll mention a couple highlights from my report that I almost had completed. The master meter project. So Limestone Township still has not found the leak up on the hill, and we have done some things with our leak detection equipment, and neither have we been able to find it. PRWA was due to come back. However, they do have some, if you remember, they put in 2 new valves up there. And when they were working on those to turn the water off, they realized that the valves that exist up there now aren't working, so they're gonna have to replace those at some point in time here in the very near future, so they can try to isolate. Jason and I even discussed today that possibly maybe in the next day or so, we run up at 2 o'clock in the morning and crawl in the pit and watch the meters and see what they do to try and figure out. Because there's not many homes up there, we can kind of see what the usage is in the middle of the night to see what's going on. Because the master meters have like an instantaneous gallons per minute flow on them.
What's the water loss number for this last time?
Well, I gave them to you last month, but tomorrow's the 20th, or you on the 20th. So I had April's and March's were on last month's report, so I'll know tomorrow. I can answer that tomorrow. Well, actually, not tomorrow. I'll know our numbers tomorrow. The townships usually come in a day or two after, so here by the end of the week, I should probably know that, and I can give you that information. Margaret mentioned here about Cherry Street, just approved the first payout. I'll say, as far as the contractor and the work they've been doing, I would say great. Dave and I were out and met with them last week. We did run into a problem, or they ran into a problem with bedrock. Right at 5th Street, we hit bedrock, and it was a slow go. In the first 2 days, maybe they got down the whole first alley, moving right along until we hit rock, and then it took them about 3 days to go about 50 feet. So we got our heads together and come up with a work change directive after meeting with Dave, and we launched that to them and pitched what we were going to do. And they had some ideas, and we finally came to a compromise. So we allowed them to raise the last manhole, for lack of better technical terms, but
Which actually should reduce the
the
contract
depth,
price.
because they were going to have to dig to 12 feet. We didn't really need to be that deep so much for the sewer, because all the laterals come in shallow, but the problem was we have utilities we were trying to avoid at the end of the alley at 5th Street, right at the intersection there. So once we got by them, we allowed them to raise up the pipe pretty far, and it did help immensely. We had to put a little bend in the pipe, a little bit to get by, and then of course the duct bank, the main telephone trunk line that runs from one end of the borough to the other, runs in that alley, and it's encased in concrete, so that was another debacle.
And it snakes.
It doesn't,
Really?
and believe it or not, I have pictures of it. It is buried directly on top of the sewer there at 5th Street and east. So the sewer was right underneath it, and it just created a huge mess for us. But anyway, other than that, they got all the pipe installed as of yesterday, all the pipe and manholes. So today forward, now they're doing, let's say, cleanup and restoration kind of stuff. So they're doing the lamp hole covers, which is sewer cleanouts for the services. They'll have some things to do with the manholes as far as the lid and cover, and they'll have some grouting out to do with the manholes, and then we'll have testing, the air pressure testing and back test for the manholes. So I expect they should have no problem hitting their deadline here by July 4th.
That's a quick question. So if the landline phones should ever cease to be, and they probably will, will they come and remove what they put in?
No.
Should they?
We couldn't even get them to do a one call on it, and they're required by law, and they did
Yeah.
one call. So I told the guys, you just cut it off, and then they'll show up.
Because the two people with a landline will be angry.
Yeah, the only bad thing is, probably a good part of the businesses there have landlines. That's usually the only ones that have lines anymore. We don't know if there is any fiber in this. I don't think there is, but I don't know. There was empty conduits, which you normally do when you run conduit. You put empties in for future. There was 8 pipes, I think, stacked, and they're literally on top of the sewer. Like I said, if anybody wants to see, I have pictures. It was quite interesting. But no, they won't remove that. It'll be there, and they'll just abandon it. H2O grant, notice to proceed, as I mentioned earlier, was given to Gatilius on the 14th, and we held our first job con, or pre-con rather, on the 14th as well. Just giving you these dates here. The substantial completion is 9/29, so September 29th, with a final completion scheduled for 10/29. If anyone's been paying attention to the news or the post on Facebook, I know Lance was there. The stadium project for the school district kicked off, and their groundbreaking was on the 4th. I attended that, and Lance was there, like I said. I don't know if anybody else from council was there or not.
Dave. Dave was there.
Oh, yeah, master of ceremonies, I forgot.
Read a proclamation.
Unforgettable.
Sorry, Dave, I forgot.
Made quite an impression.
There are good jokes, I thought. I'd say.
And then, last thing I just want to mention, as we're working on that DCNR grant that's due here at the end of the month for DCD. And then we're going to try and put together, or we are going to put together that grant for CDBG that Dave and I have to put some numbers together for CDBG funds, and that's just for the county portion. And like Margaret said, come February, we'll go for the state funds. The max for the county was $284,000, so we can do another maybe block or two of sewer. Like
284 was the entire
Allotment.
county. Yeah, the allotment.
yes, that's it. If we'd have to
You
go
got
all
everything.
in. And they said they don't get any applicants. They told us.
They said they always get one for housing, and they accommodate some of that, but there's a limit to that. It's not as much as I thought it might be. And then
Illegal
they-
limit or just their, we don't want to give it all to them?
I think it must be a grant limit
Okay.
or whatever type of use. And then, they said that there's very few other applications beyond that, but, so it would
Not
be
that many
very,
other municipalities in the county that don't have a direct.
there are, and there's not a lot. She said she's gone to their meetings and asked, and it's just that the money is, has a lot of strings attached and requires a lot of extra work compared to others. If you don't meet the low to moderate income, you have to do the door-to-door income survey for the area that you wanna do it. And that is a little, time consuming and,
Risky?
there could be some risk in that too.
And it's unknown while you're doing
Yeah.
it.
Okay, that's it for the,
Yep.
okay.
I would request an executive session for personnel matters and attorney advisement.
Okay. See ya.
See you, Dave. Thank you.
Okay, next up is public safety report.
Okay, public safety report, you have your monthly police department call summaries in your packet. Two items that I've added. I signed the approval letter for the use of the streets for the Memorial Day parade. And that was just approved today. We got PennDOT approval for that. Say we, it's actually done by the Mifflinburg American Legion. Approved the street closure on the 800 block for a tree removal. The contractor was very good to work with. And handled that resolution for Lens to change to Lens. Chief?
Guessing you guys probably took notice when you came in. We got the decals done on our new patrol car. I think it looks pretty sharp. June 4th, it goes to Keystone Communications for the rest of the upfitting. We had some discussion last time about the crosswalks issues, how we want to paint them, which ones are the busiest. I spoke with the mayor. We talked about trying to do a study and sitting at crosswalks, which works but doesn't work when there's only one person working, some of the shifts. So on top of that, I went up and met with Dr. Dady and their IT department, and they've created a survey that they're sending out to all the district parents and students.
Very nice.
Matter of fact, I just got an email from them today letting me know that they sent it out. Within 2 days so far, they've had, just close it.
68.
I can screenshot. I knew that would happen.
And then they'll tell us like where they cross.
Yeah, so it's 3 questions. First one, which intersection do your children use when walking or biking to school to cross Chestnut Street? Has Meadow Green, Forest Hill Road, 1st Street, 2nd Street, 3rd Street, 4th Street, 5th Street? When do you or your children use these intersections? Morning before school, after school, or both? And do you think it would be advantageous for the red light at Sheets to be red in all directions for a short period of time to allow for pedestrian crossings? As of this afternoon, they've already gotten 69 responses from parents. And I guess it's up until June 5th. They'll be collecting that data, so we'll have some better information, which intersections are being used, what time of day, all that stuff. The application process for our full-time has opened up. That has a deadline of June 8th. We've given out 2 applications, received none back. We had our annual firearms qualifications for the department, April 21st, 23rd, 28th. Everybody's good to go for another year there. And I see down here there's a request for South Williamsport Police Department reached out again. They have the last few years, requesting mutual aid assistance for the Little League World Series. All that time is reimbursed by the Little League. If any of the officers are off and want to try to sign up for a short block, I'm asking that they're permitted to do that. And it looks like the mayor wrote on the copy I just got here at the end of the day today. Officer Schaefer approached me, again, another public relations thing.
Oh, I thought that was my copy.
No, that was something I wanted to kind of pass around to show.
We can pass it around.
I don't know what you wrote on it, so I don't know if we should or not. But, no, what we're coming up with is called a good choice ticket. And it's basically, it's gonna be a little bit bigger than a parking ticket.
That's cool.
And I don't know if you wanna pass it around. Essentially, if we're out on patrol and see kids doing something good, and there's a checklist there, I can't see it.
Oh, that's there.
Proper bicycle safety, looking both ways before crossing the street, greeting an officer or firefighter, playing or exercising outdoors, wearing a seatbelt, safety equipment while riding scooters, skating, just being well-mannered, using crosswalks, reporting a crime or drug activity, turning in and found property. We can issue this to them, and I spoke with Jessica Brown, Mifflinburg Pelicans. If one of the children's issued one of them, they can take that copy to Pelicans for a free snow cone. So those were literally just ordered today, hoping to get those in so we can have those to hand out for the summer. Other than that, Officer Schaefer attended and passed the standardized field sobriety instructor training, which was May 4th through the 7th. That's the last thing he needed before he can apply to drug recognition expert schooling, which is in, I believe it's gonna be in October. The location hasn't been determined. That's a free training, it's a long one. Overall, it's probably gonna be about 3 weeks of him away. But at the end of it, it's gonna benefit us and all the local agencies around. One of the big things that I just got approval from today, I spoke with Chief of Probation. They have funds at the county that they can help agencies out with anything that has to do with DUI enforcement. So I reached out to him, told him that I'm looking to send Dave to DRE school. The training's free. They're willing to pay the bill for all his lodging. So the borough's not gonna be having to pay the hotel bill for him, so we'll have obviously his wages, which we've been paying either way, and some meals. So I think we're getting a really good certification out of that. Other than that, I think that's all I have.
So I filled out the good choice ticket. I figured we should give the first one to David Schaefer for other proposing the great idea of a good choice ticket. It's official, it's in pencil. Thank you, Chief.
That's cool.
There were some action items.
Yeah,
there
was
on
some.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
the
What
agenda.
what does he need action on all of these? Official approval?
Looking for approval for our police department to participate in Shop with the Cop
Okay.
in November. We'll be joining with PSP Milton Barracks and Buffalo Valley Regional Police
Okay.
to, like to send at least one or two up to shop with the kids, go with them, since we're getting some kids from the Mifflinburg community involved in that.
Great. I'll make a motion to approve numbers 11A, B, and C on the agenda. That's the Shop with a Cop program, the Community Safety Fair, and the mutual aid request with reimbursement from Little League.
Second.
Motion by Lance, second by Matt. Well, that community fair, safety fair, that'll be money.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have a budget for that, we'll
Roll.
get some items out.
Roll call vote.
All right, Ms. Lewis? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mrs. Hagus?
Yes.
Mrs. Heinberg?
Yes. Mayor's report.
Thank you. emceed the Helping Hands 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade spelling bee with Mr. Alexander and the principal. The Tractor Supply, they have now set a possible soft opening for June 13th with their real grand opening on June 20th. No mention yet of a ribbon cutting. We held the Arbor Proclamation and ceremony in the park, as we do every year. That gave us, it's our 21st year as a Tree City USA. And the pool mural looks fantastic. So I did send a picture of that to the previous mural creator, Jen Bugner. And she got back to me just a little bit ago and she said, looks great, much better than I did. Good to see things are fresh and new. And happy that it wasn't created with AI.
It was.
It
It certainly was.
Disregard it.
Full disclosure.
Yeah.
And then some citizen questions and comments. People were asking about the Memorial Day Parade. We've had some issues with Forest Hill traffic signal not working. Questions about the Purple Heart Memorial, which is sitting nicely where it will be. People asking about the Hometown Heroes banner. One thing I would definitely did not want to miss is there's a Veterans Memorial across the street from the Mifflinburg American Legion in the green space between the Young Mansion and the former bank building. A lady was interested in cleaning that up because she didn't feel it looked very good. So she actually talked to Chris Moyer at the Legion, and he said, yeah, go ahead. So anyway, she has cleaned up that landscaping, and she said she would like to be anonymous, but it is in honor of Specialist Zachariah Long. And that is all I have. You can see some other comments on there at your leisure.
Question, who actually owns that little plot there? Is that part of the Young Mansion property?
I don't know.
Okay, who owns what, did you say?
That little, you know where that monument is across from the Legion? Is that, it's part of the.
In between the bank and the old Borough building?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the Borough building, with that property.
I almost wanna say it was a deeded easement that went with the sale.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I think there's an easement for it, but it is on that property with, who owns that, Sasha?
Yeah, and Ben.
Yeah, Ben
Dietrich.
Dietrich.
Yes, that's right, Ben and Sasha.
But the borough has an easement.
No, I think
With
that we
Legion.
created an easement, and I think that the Legion is the one who took care of it.
Gotcha.
And there was something else too, that was supposed to be green space for the Elm Street pedestrian corridor, remember that?
That was an old plan, yeah, that
I
was
think it was the walkway
part of that.
To get people to the historic district.
that goes
Yeah.
beside the
Oh.
bank building.
Yeah, yeah,
That
okay.
walkway.
Yeah. All right, that's all I have, thank you.
Okay. That is done. It is 8:13. Looking for a motion to
Motion to go to executive session.
enter executive session by
Second.
Matt, second by Linda. All right, round number 2.
And you wait, you don't have to leave.
Beth, do I get to go home?
I'm just throwing things at you.
Oh,
Hey, Dave.
yes.